Good morning. So to yesterday, Flight Sim 1.9.3 finally dropped. This is their big Japanese update, which is awesome. I love Japan. I've kind of avoided going there, kind of hearing some rumors this stuff was coming. They've given a lot of good stuff with this. You get a new tour of Japan Discovery flight, and they gave some... Oops, I want to go in the marketplace. They gave some free content, supposedly, if I can find it. That's at least what they said in the marketplace. I don't really want Moscow. So, I need to go in the full catalog. Japan. So, we need this version, and what do we get with this? Interesting. So I kind of thought that we already had everything we needed for this, but I guess not. If it's a free update and you just made me download 8.8 gigs of data, why do I now have to download an extra 1.5 gigs just to get the Japanese content? So screw you. I think they could handle this a lot better. I don't like having to go into the marketplace to get something for free for something that's a free update for a free game. That's what doesn't make sense. Now, they've done a lot in this patch, and there's a lot of things that I'm going to have to come around and test. So, first, I just wanted to call out the Japanese content that you can go in the marketplace and actually download it. One of the other big things that they've added was they supposedly fixed the sensitivity settings. So, once this thing is done downloading, then I will go ahead and pull up the sensitivity settings and we'll see what's changed, if anything, in there. There's no mention of rudder controls, so I really don't have hopes that the rudder situation has been fixed yet, but they have restored, according to their patch notes, the sensitivity settings, which is good. Maybe now I can fly some of the planes again. One of the other things they called out, along with a number of airplane fixes and some slew of other nice little quality of life things, they called out some adjustments to the autopilot, so tweaking its behavior so it doesn't freak out when you descend, it doesn't overstay too high, things like that, as well as some fixes to the navigation systems, so like the Garmin GPS systems and things like that, which might help with trying to navigate some of them, get in and out of different system portions. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything kind of goes together on those items. So I'm going to let this finish downloading and then we'll come back and we will jump into the sensitivity settings. Alright, so it only took a few more minutes to download. Let's come over here to options now. Controls. Let's go to my controller, and one of the first things I want to do is go to all. Let's collapse everything. Go to flight and control surfaces, primary control, rudder access, once again, not assigned. Thank you very much for causing that problem. I'm going to keep that on left trigger. I want to validate that, and then I don't want you there, so I'll clear that and validate it. So we still have no fixed rudder, but that's what I expected. Alright, now unfortunately it looks like we have the same ridiculous sensitivity curve. This was my -90 citation one, so I'm just going to go ahead and drop everything in here back kind of to where it was. You're my up and down. I don't really think I had a big problem with up and down, so I'm going to just leave you at 60. We'll play with this stuff again in just a second. Alright, I think you were at 20. I think everything was at 20 essentially. Let's just leave it all there. Okay, so left stick, right stick. Yeah, I think we're... Ooh, that's gonna need to go farther. Wow. That stick's got some serious dead spot, but it's a camera one, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Alright, I think we're good on my -90 for the citation. Let's save that and see if we can get to my -60 prop. This one was still set. That is so bizarre. I do not understand why that one was still saved. Huh. I'm going to be in a prop plane anyway, so let's leave that one equipped. Alright, so to test these settings out real quick and make sure they work, I'm going to recreate a flight that I have done 3 times now, thanks to Windows 10 continually corrupting my video footage, which is getting very annoying. Yeah, this one. Okay, so I am starting right here. Set as departure. Maybe. Okay, then we are going to fly down here to the Seagulls. Actually, no, sorry, I got to come back here and put a landing back in there. Okay, now I can come down here to the Seagulls, add them, and add the Grizzly Bears, maybe. There we go. I like the Cub Crafter just because it's got a little bit of a higher speed. Awesome, did all my liveries get deleted in this update? Okay, that's a new problem. They said they fixed the livery menu, but instead they broke it, so now I don't have any of the liveries that I downloaded previously. That's fabulous, which means I may now need to go download all of those again. Ugh, so annoying. Figure out how to update a game, Microsoft. So if that's the case, as much as I loved having all the liveries, I don't really want to waste my time dealing with that garbage again. Whatever. Alright, so for this flight, essentially, we are just making a short and simple jaunt over to look at the Seagulls here. And then a quick loop back to the Grizzlies, and then we will land back at the airport. Now, these guys are set up here in a little cove, and I've done this 3 times, but Windows 10 keeps screwing up my footage, so I'm going to kind of use slew to kind of zip over the way I've done it before. But there was a specific issue that occurs over here that I want to see if they've fixed, because they talked about some of the collisions and negative terrain stuff, and I think that might have been what was causing my problem. But let me load in, and I'll explain what I was talking about while we test the sensitivity out and everything else to see if it actually will fail or work. And it was something I discovered by complete accident just trying to do some bush flying, and I was really shocked at how lame this type of a failure was. This would be something that would be easily forgiven even in FSX, just because it was such an old game and trying to map and set everything up properly would be a lot harder. But in 2020, this type of a failure, no, to me that's inexcusable, especially when there's ways around that. And I know I haven't really explained what the problem is, but I'm going to load in and get there, and then we'll talk about it. Alright, so we are loading into a beautiful cloud. Unfortunately, I think I selected the wrong weather, but that's quite alright. Alright, come on, ready to fly. Get me in here. Alright, now I also like this crub because we have an autopilot to a degree, which is a very nice option here. Got all my strobes on, got everything up. Alright, so we are set to... and we will go from there. Flaps are ready to go. Got a bit of wind already. That might have been torque steer, actually. Alright, raise the flaps, get some elevation up. I think we're going up a little bit high here. Zoom out, let's turn autopilot on. Yipes. Oh, see, and it did it backwards too. God dang it. Well, good that I still can't turn on the yaw damper. Stinking game. Alright, well, so what I'm really going to do with this is use the heading and go this way. Because I want to go to the Seagulls first, which is what I've really done. We've seen the Bears before. Alright, let's decrease my vertical speed a bit here. Interesting, I don't know why. Okay, so autopilot is most certainly not fixed. Wow. So I have no trim. I have to push this thing fully forward for it to go. Wow, it totally glitched on me. So, wow, they broke autopilot more. Autopilot's back on. Okay, what are you doing? Bring me down. Alright, can you handle taking me up at a reasonable rate? No. You cannot. Alright, I'm going to decrease my altitude to 2700 here. Okay, fix one thing and they break 17 more. Just lovely. Alright, we are mostly on track heading-wise, so that's good. I am not going to really get overly concerned about most of what's going on. I've also noticed that the trims aren't really being set by the autopilot. I think in this bush plane it doesn't really have a trim. No, because my rudder's getting screwed up here. Interesting, so the rudder trim is able to be messed up. And my VFR map is still broken. Wow, this is almost worse than it was before. I'd almost rather the sensitivity menu be gone. This is insane, guys. I mean, seriously, what the heck is going on? Can I fly level? I do not think this game knows what it wants to be doing right now, and that is just absurd. Are you still going a bit? Nope, this is level. Okay. But for some reason the trim doesn't want to work on the... Oh, now it does. Okay, so trim up and down wasn't working. I noticed the autopilot didn't seem to be trimming things out, so awesome. Alright, autopilot's going to turn me back. I've got vertical speed on to get me down to my 2,700 feet. No. You shouldn't be going down at all, really. Alright, we're going down to 2,400. I need to throttle back a little bit. Wow, I'm sorry, this is not really what I wanted to show, but this is crazy. And see, my VFR map still shows me up here at the airport. I haven't gone anywhere. I can't zoom in or out of it. It's completely frozen. So my main map, or extra map, is now completely worthless to me. And we're kind of stuck out here doing nothing. So thank you, Microsoft, for doing a test of your patch like you do with your Windows 10 updates. That totally keeps the game functional. Alright. Now that we know that this is completely trash, let's zip over here and let's see if we can recreate the problem. So what I'd originally done was I'd flown over all of this. Oops, as I smash into my microphone, I am so sorry. I came over here on autopilot. I navigated around that. I came here into this valley. We made a nice bit of a descent here with the heading as we flew into the bay. We were going to kind of navigate around, which is exactly what we're going to do again now. Let me throttle back. We're going to take the altitude down to 900, go vertical, take me down nicely. Alright, so the seagulls are supposed to be out in the bay. And as I came in here, I was flying a little lower than I am now, but I loved the view with the sunset, the clouds. This was just a gorgeous flight, and I was really, really liking it. And I saw this awesome sandbar up ahead where I decided, you know what, I'll make a pass at the seagulls. And then we'll loop around and we'll land on that little sandbar. That should not be a bad thing at all. I'm in a bush plane after all. So I came down. I think I may need to descend a little bit faster here. We'll throttle back a little more. We overshot the bay by a lot, of course. And then I made my hard left turn so that I could go take a look at the neat seagulls. They were pretty cool, and you can see this sandbar out here just was begging to be landed on as we came around. So what I did was I disengaged my autopilot, came over to have a look at the seagulls, which it looks like the point has moved a little bit because it was closer over here to the wall, but that's all right. So we came over here. Although if they are birds, it makes sense that they would kind of move around a little bit. Getting a bit of wind. We should be seeing them soon. They are birds after all. I should be seeing them. This was problem one, that you can't really see them very well. Ooh, killed a few. Alright, they didn't render in until the last minute, and that was a very interesting flock of seagulls. So that was concern number one, but overall it was alright. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed that. I flew around there twice before doing what I'm doing right now, which is heading back up the mountain a little bit so that I can loop around for a landing on that sandbar that we saw over there. So we need to gain some altitude here. We are in a bush plane, so I don't have to go crazy on the altitude. You can see the sandbars over there. Oops, sorry, over there. Gotta remember to show you the right monitors. So we need to gain a little bit of altitude because we gotta fly over the trees to come down on the sandbar. Approach isn't gonna be too bad. Alright, so throttle's doing decent. I'm going to engage the first set of flaps because I'm flying kind of low. We're going to start a nice leisurely turn here because we got to get over a little farther. I can start to throttle back because we need to start a descent. Let's get behind the plane. Wind's blowing me a bit. Okay, so I am high enough. I don't think I'm far enough over, but we'll begin my turn anyway. Let's go ahead and put on the next stage of flaps. We need to throttle down further. There's my sandbar. Okay, we gotta come down over these trees and kind of float this sucker on. I forget what the stall speed is on this. 81 miles per hour. Whatever. Alright, so we're going to come in nice and low. I'm going to put the flaps all the way out now. We are slowing down very nicely as we are coming in low over these trees. A little too low there. It's my throttle bringing me down. Alright, we clear the trees. Now I got to throttle way down. Coming in on the sandbar. Flare a little bit of a bounce. Start the braking, and let's see here. Ooh, what happened? I crashed into the water? What are you talking about, I crashed into the water? That was the problem. Because of the way the water overlaps the sandbar, you can't really see it. And right a few seconds before I got there, as you can see here, you were able to see the water, and you could see it was kind of this harsh line, and it was not as smooth as it looked earlier. But the water is very shallow, and I'm in a bush plane, so touching a little bit of water is not going to crash my plane. It's not like I just went and sank out in the water. In a bush plane, you can ski the stinking wheels across the water if you're a good enough pilot and the water's smooth enough. Here, I'm on the shoreline. There weren't any big waves. It was smooth, and I just barely nicked it, and I died. That's no fun. How am I supposed to do bush plane flying and land on these cool sandbars and go off and explore if I crash every time I nick a piece of water? Yes, water is going to slow me down very quickly. I understand how well that works. But the water is shallow enough that I should flow through it. If I'm in the Icon and I drive into the water with my wheels, basically the same thing happens. In reality, nothing would happen. It's a jet ski airplane, so what the heck are you doing? The only way around it is to basically turn crashing off. Well, I want to be punished if I'm not a good pilot and I hit the ground too hard. Yes, I feel the way I like to play that I should be punished, but instead, now I'm never going to be able to do that bush type of flying if I have the sensitivity in the game set that way or the crash detection set like that. So that's really annoying and agitating. I wish they would really figure some of that stuff out. That's, again, just harkens back to the game was released too early. They should have kept it in development for a few more months and really focused on these issues. I love the fact that you're adding better scenery, better patching, not better patching, but better airports, and you're fixing some of the graphical glitches and some of the other stuff in the game, but I would much rather have some really funny and stupid graphical glitches and fewer airports for the game to function correctly. I mean, we still, how many months into the game's launch, cannot properly fly a plane with rudder control on a controller? I'm sorry, that's a critical flight surface if you want to take flying seriously. I can get by without it, but using the rudder to crab approaches and dog into the wind is vital, so I don't get it. And the flight issues with the autopilot, I've never had the autopilot go that haywire in a propeller plane. I've lost aspects of control, but never like that. I mean, it's like my elevators got stuck on full up, even though I was shoving them full forward just to flatline, and then finally it unlocked and let me have control of my plane again. So they fixed a few things and made a whole bunch more worse. This makes me a little nervous about doing another autopilot video, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens because, well, that's where we're going next. We're going to see if we can get approach to work. We're going to do nav flights again. So thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.